Oh, he's skyjacking the Banshee. Sorry, getting a little ahead of myself. Welcome back. Episode 5 of the Halo TV series dropped today. I told you guys this was going to be a big one, and goddamn did they deliver. Although I was right about this being a big episode, I was way off, at least so far, with Quan and Soren's story. So let's get through the boring parts first. Find that Quan and Soren. Sorry. You find that Quan and Soren have broken down, and Soren handcuffs her to the motorcycle they left on to go find a new set of wheels. He comes back and she has broken out, and she manages to sneak up on a Spartan and use a cattle prod on the back of his neck and knock him out. Takes his gun and is holding it to his head. He's still passed out and they pan away, and that is all that happened, even though it drug out over like 10 minutes worth of video. I was really hoping she died this episode, and I hate to be that way, but it's just so boring. I've been a little skeptical about how they're portraying Master Chief in the TV series. However, especially this episode, John really seems to be developing into the Master Chief that we know from the games. He doesn't know who he can trust anymore. He doesn't know who he should talk to and who he shouldn't talk to. So he's become very stoic and cryptic. And a lot of people, myself included, thought he was being misrepresented in the TV show. But I think they had another agenda altogether. They were showing how he used to be and then what caused him to become the character that we knew in the games. And this last episode has done a phenomenal job of that. Now, this is the first time that John sees Kai with her pink hair. He immediately pulls her aside and asks her about removing her implant. She tells him, yeah, I did it pretty much right after you did it. And he tells her that he's not going to clear for combat, and then she has to go wait back on the ship. And she makes the argument in the show. She's like, well, what about you? This is very do as I say, not as I do type of leadership, and she wasn't real happy about it. I'm not either. It seemed kind of backwards. But later on, he ends up being justified in what he did, and we'll get more into that in a minute. Now, Halsey's scientists are all over this artifact, and the rapey assistant goes to use some sort of laser on it to either cut or study it, whatever he's doing. Causes the outer shell to explode, sending out a shockwave that appears to like shatter eardrums. Everybody's on the ground screaming in agony. And the shockwave is so powerful that it reaches all the way back to Madrigal, where Mackie and her elites are searching for the first artifact, and their instruments pick up the energy given off. Once the elites pick up that signal, Mackie runs over and touches the wall where the first artifact used to be, and she gets one of the visions like John gets. She knows where the artifact is. There's a storm blowing up, a whopper! John goes running to the artifact once hit with the blast, and he sees that the artifact has now been revealed. It is no longer in that crystal shell, and decides to touch it. And he gets another vision, but this time he actually sees Halsey kidnapping him from his childhood home. Cat's out of the bag now. There's no getting that back. And who better to show up right after he has this vision than Halsey herself? John, fuming mad. You can see it. He doesn't know what to do. Leaps off this platform and tries to Superman punch Halsey. Unfortunately, Halsey just calls for Cortana, and Cortana shuts him down, and he hits the ground hard. When John finally comes to, he makes a beeline for Halsey. He's interrupted by Cortana letting him know that there's a slip space rupture. Turns around, looks up, and just sees the UNSC ship, the Pioneer, being blown up. And to the people over at Paramount Plus, this is what we're here for. This scene is extraordinary. This is a full-on Covenant assault. They're trying to retrieve this artifact, and the Master Chief and Silver Team have to do what they can to stop it. And it's phenomenal. It has everything this show has been missing so far. It's intense combat. It shows how extraordinarily outmatched the humans are compared to the Covenant. They come in, they push our shit in, they take the artifact, and they go. I thought for a moment we were going to get a truth and reconciliation scene, where Master Chief goes up into a Covenant ship, he's sprinting towards the grav lift, but they get shut down before he gets there. I'm a little bummed out about that. I really hope that at some point in this show, he ends up on a Covenant ship, and we can see what this team is going to do with the inside of Covenant buildings. Ships? Inside of Covenant ships, not buildings. Now, I did expect over-the-top combat in this show, but one thing I didn't expect was just how gruesome this show got. You get to see one Marine completely obliterated by a needler. There's another scene where there's an elite who's got his bottom half just blown off and he's crawling, trying to get away. It's gruesome. The Master Chief and all the other Spartans are covered in blood. And it's all this blood and gore that causes Kai to completely shut down in the middle of the firefight. She just stops responding completely. She's being shot from all sides. It looks like she's a goner. Luckily, Master Chief completely disobeys orders to just take the artifact back to the ship, goes off on his own to try to save her, which is what I was talking about earlier when I said they're developing him into the character that we know from the games, because that is exactly what I would have expected Master Chief to do. Versus if he had kept the implant in, he would have just followed orders and left Kai to die. I'm interested to see what happens with Kai now that she has shut down in the middle of a firefight. I've never been in a firefight, but I imagine I would have done the same thing. She was watching people just puke blood, and it was awful. I wonder if she's gonna be able to bounce back from this in the future or not. If not, it's really gonna put a damper on my theory that her, John, and Soren are gonna kind of create this trio. But we'll see. Right before the Covenant escape, they shoot a pod down to the planet. And after the dust settles, you see that it's Mackie trying to play the victim again to get close to the UNSC. She did successfully last time. We'll have to wait and see what happens this time. With episode 5 in the bag, I can easily say this has been my favorite episode. And I really hope they keep this momentum going. If they slow back down to their episode 1 through 4 pace, I'm gonna be disappointed. But in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe throw some comments down with some predictions, some things you like, some things you don't like. Check back next week. We'll have another video. See you there.